Hello, folks. My name is Jan Kinsey. I'm one of the organizers for the Fairy and Human Relations Congress. And online, it's known as the Gaian Fairy Congress. And our mission is to really communicate and co-create with the intelligences of nature. So we have a monthly workshop series, and on September 20th, this is 10 to 11:30 a.m. West Coast time, we will have Starr working with ancestors. Starr is a spirit worker trained in ancestral lineage healing and several shamanic modalities who helps guide people in exploring the unseen realms, past lives, and their connections with nature through a mythic lens. Summer, welcome. I'm so glad we're doing this. So
Yeah.
the question comes up, why should we work with ancestors? You know, there are some groups where there's a lot of it, you know, they're known for ancestor work, and then we have some cultures where there's not a lot. What are we missing out, like in America, why should we work with ancestors and how? And what do we do if the ancestors show up being fairy or something not quite human? How do
hmm
we tackle that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm an ancestor geek, so this is my great question. So I work with a lot of humans who have mixtures of being human and other than human, whether it's past lives or it's ancestors. And I think that it's something that is actually arising more often on the earth right now as kind of like an immune system response. The earth is like, let's braid in some hybridal relationships so that you humans remember that there are more than humans out there, and you start to listen in different ways. And the trouble with being a kind of hybridal being is that sometimes that experience isn't seated very well in the human experience. Like you get a lot of neurodivergence and different ways of perceiving that's kind of like difficult and in our current culture. And the ancestors, especially the ancestors that have that sort of hybridal consciousness, are really great guides for how to seat those sorts of neurodivergent consciousnesses into the human experience. They can kind of advise, they can be like, hey, this is how we did it. And that can actually help people flourish in their life, express their soul gifts better. Sometimes there's ancestral distortions that you have to clear out because they're like, that's not safe to express, or we don't, we shut that down because our neighbors came with pitchforks a long time ago, so we like, and so when you clear all of that out through ancestral work, you can really come back into a authentic expression. Yeah.
So for people that don't have a lot of ancestor work, how can they show up in your work? Can they show up in your workshop?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to be doing like an introduction to ritually safe ways to work with the ancestors, and kind of like what are um, sort of the guardrails that help protect you in this work, and what are the things that we can sort of all look towards and agree upon, that help contain and hold the work. So the workshop will have an introduction to all of that. And then we'll have some time to explore whether people have some of these beyond human ancestral connections, and what that looks like, and some of the history behind that, and how that has looked over time. Yeah.
Summer, this sounds really enticing. I don't know any place else where they're teaching something like this, but we are at Fairy Congress, Gaian Fairy Congress. I put all the links below. You can get the tickets are $35. Again, it's September 20th on Zoom. It will be recorded, so in case you miss the workshop or you want to review the workshop, it will be recorded. Summer, thank you so much.
Looking forward to it.